Today's question of the day for you: how long have you been a Steelers fan? There is a surprise bonus award. It's like, whose line is it anyway? For whoever has been the longest Steelers fan. No lying, because producer Jeremy Psychic, he knows if you're lying. How long have you been a Steelers fan? Let us know in the comment section right now. You're watching Pittsburgh Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey. We're going to spend most of today's video taking a look at Mel Kiper's draft grades for the Steelers. By the way, Kiper, he did go full coward as well. Before that, there was some official news that I want to get to briefly here. Damontae Kazee, he signed a one-year contract. He was on the Cowboys last year. My expectation for Pittsburgh and for Kazee is he will likely end up being the top backup safety in Pittsburgh. A little bit of extra depth at the spot after the Steelers elected to not draft any safeties this year. So Donovan Steiner, Trey Norwood, Miles Killebrew, they all remain on the roster. But although I don't have the exact in-depth details on the contract quite yet for Damontae Kazee, I would fully expect this to be a one-year deal worth very little money, next to no guarantees. Maybe you're talking like $500,000 at most guaranteed there. I think Terrell Edmunds ends up being the starter. Kazee had 2 interceptions last year for the Cowboys, 4 pass breakups. As the year went on, when Malik Hooker, who the Cowboys chose to brought back instead of Kazee, got healthy and got to the playbook, Kazee kind of took a lesser role for the Cowboys. He was safety 3.5 there in the end. He will sign officially after the comp pick deadline, meaning he's not going to impact it from that standpoint. Not that I think his contract would have impacted it. Anyway, so who should start at safety? Of course, Minkah Fitzpatrick is one of them. I think it's Terrell Edmunds, barring a surprising move unknown out there. But let me know. Who should start? DK for Damontae Kazee, TE for Terrell Edmunds. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. We're reacting to Mel Kiper's Steelers draft grade this year. And Mel Kiper, which I also gave to Pittsburgh, was a B. So we're in similar molds here in terms of what Kiper thought about this Steelers draft class. We'll break down some of the top picks, mention some of the later rounders. Again, for the recap, in case you missed it or didn't watch our own Steelers draft grades, first off, how dare you? Make sure you're subscribed and watch all of our coverage. Kenny Pickett in round 1 out of Pittsburgh. Georgia receiver George Pickens in round 2. Defensive lineman 5 technique from A&M, DeMarvin Leal in the 5th round. Calvin Austin III, the wide receiver from Memphis. Connor Hayward, because the Steelers will get all of their star players' brothers. At the fullback, tight end hybrid out of Michigan State. Mark Robinson, the inside linebacker, was the round 7 selection. And Chris Oladokun, as they double dip at quarterback, another small school player there in the 7th round. We won't spend too much time on those 7th rounders. We'll focus to begin on Kenny Pickett, the selection in round 1, the first and only QB taken in the first round. Here's what Mel wrote on Pickett and reason why he gave his grade. I like Malik Willis a little bit more than Kenny Pickett, but I can't fault the Steelers for going with the local quarterback. My comp for Pickett, some Derek Carr, some Andy Dalton. Teams can win with that. I don't know that he'll definitely beat out Mitchell Trubisky in year 1, and he doesn't have the ceiling of Willis. Pickett is a little bit older than most rookie QBs. He is 24 years old from that standpoint. Not like Brandon Weeden old, but it is a little bit older than you're used to. I mean, Trubisky's only 27, as long as he's been in the NFL here for. The glow-up was real for Pickett this past season. A significant breakout 2021 campaign. More touchdowns this year than his entire Pitt career ever. My player comp was actually more of a Jared Goff, Teddy Bridgewater, which if you guarantee that guy at number 20 overall, it's actually not that bad of a pick. In the end, you're just banking on him maybe being a little bit more. Local kid, I will make note that nobody probably has better insight to Kenny Pickett than this organization, given just the location and shared facility and whatnot. So be honest with me, even you Trubisky truthers out there. Did the Steelers make the right move by drafting Kenny Pickett? Be honest. You can say no. It's okay. We've all got opinions. Why for yes and for no? Did Pittsburgh make that right selection in the first round? Now, if you're typing your why for yes, then go get your Kenny Pickett jersey right now at chatsports.com/Pickett. They've got him in the white and the black. I think the black just looks better. Maybe just think it's more versatile. Either way, get yours today. They will go quickly. Pre-order them. The number we all assume is going to be number 8 here. chatsports.com/Pickett. That link will be in the comment section and in the description. Round 2 was George Pickens. And to be clear, I loved what the Steelers did at wide receiver. I thought there were several other teams who should have done what the Steelers did at receiver as opposed to, taking a Christian Watson early in round 2 or only taking one receiver. Pickens has your X, that outside vertical threat wide receiver mold, 6'3", 195. The production was down this past year. He was hurt. He was kind of like the receiver version of Derek Stingley. Had he been healthy and had he not had a mediocre QB, he might have been a first-round pick this year. So I adore the selection of Pickens in round 2. And I love the selection in the 4th of Calvin Austin. Both of these players I had higher grades on in terms of round and just straight up like overall grade versus where they want. Austin is a very small but dynamic slot receiver. Great production at Memphis, offers you some return value as well. The duo of Pickens and Austin, to me, is going to be a focal one for this offense. Maybe not necessarily in year 1, but down the road, I think that is a fantastic 1-2 punch. Austin can be your starting slot. Pickens can be a starting outside guy for me. I thought those 2 picks were some of the best value picks made in this entire NFL draft. Here's what Mel wrote. Wide receivers George Pickens, 52nd, and Calvin Austin, 138, are nice replacements for Juju Smith-Schuster and James Washington. Pickens is more of the Washington role, and he'll catch some fades down the sideline, while the diminutive dynamo, Austin, will line up mostly out of the slot and rack up yards after the catch. I think he's right. I think Pickens right now is a better player than James Washington. I think Pickens is your other outside starter. Claypool, of course, will get some slot stuff. This, of course, probably was the depth chart before this year's draft. I think your receivers this year, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool in no particular order, George Pickens, Miles Boykin will make it as a backup there, Calvin Austin, there's 5. Maybe Anthony Miller makes it at 6, maybe not. I'm not going to be heartbroken if he doesn't. But this receiving core for Pittsburgh, entering was a very clear position of need. I would argue it's now a position of strength for you. So I'm pretty happy. Now, it might take a little bit of time to get the chemistry and get just like in the NFL, I get all that. But I want you to rate the Steelers receiving core after this year's NFL draft. Let me know. Use a scale of 1 to 100. And while you're down there in the comments, make sure you are subscribed to our Steelers channel. Daily Steelers videos all year long from the Thomases for the most part here. Shout out Tyler Jones for subbing in for me since I was live during our draft coverage. YouTube.com/Steelers TV. Make sure you guys are subscribed. The last one we'll really focus in on here because, outside top 200, maybe they'll make a back end of the roster, more likely practice squad. DeMarvin Leal. Here's what Mel Kiper wrote. Defensive lineman DeMarvin Leal looked like a future first-rounder at times in 2020, but he struggled with consistency last season. He has some versatility along the Steelers' front. For me, I think he's going to be a 5 technique. And coming into this year's draft, I thought he was a bit of a tweener. I'm like, is he best at 3 technique? I don't think he can hold up on that side. As he is a full-time defensive end, I don't know if he has the burst. As a 5 technique, I actually think he fits in quite nicely from that standpoint, being able to anchor a little bit against the run, offering you some pass rush value, can be a rotational piece early on. He was 93 overall on my board because of the tweener traits, but he was one of, I think the second best interior defensive lineman left on the board for me when he got taken. So I don't have any complaints about where he went, and I think his fit in Pittsburgh is actually going to be pretty darn good for a tweener. So Mel Kiper's grade, in case you weren't paying attention earlier, was a B. And that's about what I gave it as well. I love the mid-round picks, the late rounds or whatever. I'm not quite sold on Kenny Pickett there. Of course, if you are, you're probably going to give it an A. So now I want you guys, if you haven't already or if you've done so before, do it again. You can vote multiple times. It'll rig the election. Grade the Steelers draft, A, B, C, D, or F.